Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Lori Rubin. I'm with MacFun, and I'm joined today by the fabulous Karen Hutton. She's our judge for this ViewBug contest. Karen, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
And then we also have Ori, who is the founder of ViewBug. He's with us today as well. So, Ori, you want to say hi?
Hello, everyone, too.
Okay, great. Well, we are so excited because this is the first time that ViewBug has actually done a webinar with us to reveal the winner. And, we are just big fans of ViewBug. It's a fantastic site. And for all those of you folks that join in and you're entering your images for contests, today you get to really listen and find out what makes a judge pick the winners. What is she looking for? And Karen is, just a amazing person, and it's just a real treat to always get to listen to her and see what she's thinking and her thoughts behind why she picked what she did. And just as a little side note, Karen does a lot of things first time for us, so I'm just really pleased that she's able to be our host and guest for this particular webinar. We're really excited. So I want to let you know that for ViewBug, we're actually going through, and I'm going to tell you, we're offering some prizes for this, ViewBug and MacFun. So for the amateur winner is going to get a $50 B&H gift card and the MacFun Creative Kit, which includes all 4 Pro products. The People's Choice Award is going to get a $50 B&H gift card and the MacFun Creative Kit. You'll be able to see the People's Choice on the ViewBug blog. And what I'll do is I'll post that link in that little chat box there. Basically, it's viewbug.com/blog, and then you'll be able to see the winner there. The grand jury winner is going to get a $100 B&H gift card, $100 B&H gift card, a Smug Mug Pro membership, and a MacFun Creative Kit. And for those of you who maybe want to buy some of the MacFun products, Karen's a big fan of these products and she uses them for a lot of her images. Please use her promo code, which is KHUT. You can see at the bottom of your screen, and you'll get 10% off of all the MacFun Pro products.
And that is the correct pronunciation, by the way, K-Hut.
KHUT. So this is the first of 6 webinars that we're going to be doing with ViewBug, and thank you so much, Ori, for letting us be a part of it. The next one that's going to happen is going to be called Above the Air Contest. In fact, it's live right now, so I will also post the link so that if you're interested in joining that particular contest, it's Above the Air. That one's going to be judged by Romeo Dersher, who is the DJI's Director of Education. And so he is actually, flying these drones and getting some fantastic above the air shots, and a great photographer himself. So that is going to be next month. So we're excited to have him join us as well. Okay, I think we're ready. So let's start with Ori. Ori, can you tell a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your wonderful company, ViewBug?
Sure, Lori, thanks for having us. I'm excited to do this with yourself and Karen. And well, pretty much we share the same passion that you all guys share. It's our passion for photography, and we decided to launch ViewBug and run ViewBug as a way to host the world's best photo contest and contests that are judged by world-renowned photographers such as Karen and yourself, Lori, and powered by amazing brands such as MacFun. And the whole idea behind ViewBug is to have a place to be creative, be inspired, and receive recognition as a photographer. We wanted ViewBug not only to be photo contest, but we wanted to build a unique photography community that really fosters collaboration, rewards creativity, and makes it fun to share your photos. So that's pretty much what we're doing, Lori, and excited to be doing these webinars and to hear Karen's big revelation about the winners.
Yes, we're all excited. We're like sitting at the edge of our seats.
Yeah, the bottom of the curtain, the big curtain will be pulled back, but it's fluttering right at the bottom there, just waiting and begging. But first. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt. Carry on, Lori.
No, actually, you're next. So.
Oh, really? Oh,
yes.
Am I still here?
You're still here. Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, what you were saying, Ori, about ViewBug's vision, I come from the school of thought that I have never been completely convinced of the whole notion of competition and art going together, beautifully, because they seem like oil and water to me. But when I met you and learned about ViewBug, your whole way of making it a community and making it a place people can learn and get their work out into the world and make it better and win stuff along the way, it's like a whole new approach. It's like a whole new niche within this competition. And you need a new word, frankly, because it's, I don't know what it is, communitition. I don't know.
There you go.
It's because it's a really cool thing that you guys are doing. And so consequently, it's exciting to be a judge and we need a new word for that too, by the way. But so So what I want to say about judging is, how to win photo contests. I don't really know how to tell you how to win photo contests, but what I can tell you is what I look for as a judge. See, because here's the thing. Everybody's like, how do I win this competition? Well, judges don't go to a big international judges school and come out with, top honors at judging. People are just in it for a long period of time, and you eventually start to learn what is it about images that make them, like awe-worthy, like, AWE, like I'm in awe of that image. And there are some things technically, but a lot of it is emotional and a lot of it is subjective. So back in my competition days when I used to compete in equestrian sports and other sports, if I was serious about getting year-end awards or really winning certain competitions, I'd make sure that I had a certain judge that I knew how they thought and I could form my performance to what they thought. Now, I don't know if you all want to go to that length to try to win competitions, but what I'm trying to say here is there's no one answer about how to win photo contests. The best way is to get really, really good at creating an impact. Because in the end, photography is emotional. Photography and art affect people. You want to transport people. You want people to feel something about your work. So the Winter Vistas contest was yet another incredible ViewBug contest, because I have to say, ViewBug, what do you call them? Participants, members, people who enter the contests, you guys are amazing. I've done a few contests now, and I'm like, are you all this good, like all the time? So it's amazing. And so especially, you get up to like the top 10, and it becomes like I start sweating a little bit because it's like, oh my God, these people are really, really good photographers. So I got to hand it to you all who made it to this final group. You're all really, really good. So what I want to say is winter can be challenging to capture. It's not only hard, you got to brave the elements, you got to manage the light, which is really challenging in winter, with all this white and reflection and all this kind of thing. But creating a composition in all this white, that really speaks, getting rid of all the distractions, because when you have a winter scene, distractions stand out more than they do in perhaps other times of the year, because everything is so white and stark as a rule. And so all those things can be magnified in the starkness of winter. But every single photographer that made it through the top choice here made such interesting choices and conveyed such unique points of view. I really got to hand it to you. And those are among the top elements I look for in any photo, and I think any good photographer who's judging will do the same thing. And I'm also really glad we have an opportunity to talk about how we arrived at our decisions, because I'm sure as a contestant, it can be mystifying, as to which images do and don't place and why. So this webinar and others like it are a tremendous opportunity to open a dialogue, to understand better how to get better and how to represent your work better in a contest situation. So here is my thinking in general. Before I look at a single image, I have these guidelines in mind. All right, so there's some general guidelines that are just true no matter what. And then I see how close that gets me to the final choice. So number one, I'm hoping to see a strong story or perspective. element that ties into a story. And this also addresses composition, because people say, oh, how is the composition, or what's the composition like? And my first question when somebody asks me that is, well, what are you trying to say? And then I'll tell you if your composition told that story, because everything is in context. So I want to see a strong story and a perspective. I want to see in winter photos, particularly, exposure and light handled extraordinarily well, because I know how hard that is. And I know how it makes or breaks winter images. And this is, it sounds similar to the first one, but I'm also looking for a very unique voice, something that's not commonly experienced in a winter photo. Or if it is like an iconic capture, it better be incredibly masterful. And then I use that word experience. So here's the fourth thing. The winning photos had to stop me in my tracks with an amazing experience, like in my gut, like it's almost hard to put into words when I laid my eyes, my mind, and my heart on it. So you see, it's a combination of technical and subjective that I'm looking for in my initial impressions of a photo that I'm going to place high. And the thing is, I know ViewBug, and I know that's not asking too much, any of that. So,
right.
If there's no other questions.
Well, I have a question actually, and this is for Ori. Ori, how many contests are you currently have right now on ViewBug?
That's a good question, Lori. Currently, we have 102 photo contests that are open for submissions.
Wow.
And each contest has a different theme, so it's exactly a little bit what Karen was saying. We're looking at different stories, different interpretation of subjects, different ways of expressing as an artist. And that's why we have not only 1 or 2 or 5 contests. We feel that different subjects can be shot in different ways, and there's so many different interpretations of the art of photography that we love to see all of this, and that's why we run so many different contests.
Yeah. And let's just talk for a moment about, we talk about winners and things like that, but really, everybody's a winner. And this is all about upping your art and getting better. And so, Karen may pick out an image and maybe another judge would pick out something else. So it's always really interesting to see what people are looking for. And that's why I'm really fascinated by this, Karen, to see what you are looking for, because, I do some judging too. So I'm interested to see exactly, what your eye's going for and what you're capturing, what you're feeling in your heart when you're seeing these images, in front of you. So yeah, it's really exciting. Right. Okay, we're ready.
Okay, and the other thing I wanted to say, thank you, ViewBug, too, for doing the first photo I'm going to show you is the winner of the amateur competition. You have amateur, you have people's choice, you have all different angles on a contest, so it isn't like just one type of, what am I trying to say, a competition. It's great. So this first image, I'm all nervous about showing the first image, is the winner of the amateur competition. Now hold on, drum roll, please. Yeah. Hello, computer, wake up, thank you. Nice. This image is called Misty River, and the user who took this photo, I don't really know how to say your name, so I'm sorry if I'm going to butcher it, but it's C. Sirnak. Csirnak. And the reason that I love this, this is Winter Vistas, but this is a wonderful example of a feeling. What this person did was they got down. They got down to, like, not quite ground level, because she would have lost, the sun and everything if she got all the way down. But she got down. She got in it. So you can see the grains of the snow, and you can see the sparkle of the snow that is. I live in the mountains. I live in snow, and this is what it feels like. The weeds, the dead stuff there that has the fluffy snow is. You can almost reach out and touch it. And then you have this incredible sun and sunburst shining, and the misty fog, which is so common at certain times of the day. Around this, snow and river, when the river water is warmer than the air and it fogs up, and it's just such a beautiful slice of winter that feels just like winter feels, and everything about it just sort of screamed winter to me.
Yes, indeed. It's kind of got that cold feeling and then that kind of
Yep.
warmth of the sun. I like that
Yep.
contrast. That's really
Yep.
nice.
Yeah, and you can almost feel it because I know the feeling of standing there when the air is really cold, but the sun is in your face, and you were because obviously this is sunrise because sunset you don't usually have the fog, so this is that time of day when everything kind of goes whoa in the morning, and you're standing there, brrr, you've been waiting for sunrise, and then sun hits you, and you go so hi, welcome to my world. That's how I experience photos. So this was lovely. It was a really wonderful representation.
Great. And by the way, if you folks have any questions or comments, feel free to type them in there. We'd love to hear your feedback as well. So
Yep.
yeah, this is very nice.
So what do we call? So we're going. What do we call it backwards? So we're starting from. Do you call it the second runner-up of the main contest?
Sure, let's start there.
Okay. So that's what we're calling it. So drum roll, please. Da 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 da. Da. Boom. Thank you. Very nice drum roll. This photo surprised me, and surprises can be good, and it was in this case, since they get your attention right off the bat. So it's just that once you surprise someone, your photo then has to hold up to the scrutiny. When someone looks at it and goes, "Oh, that surprises me," then they start really picking your photo apart, and hopefully everything you did and your cropping and your processing holds up to that scrutiny. So this particular one was unique amongst the entries that I saw. And of course, not everyone has access to such a gorgeous town at night, as this is called the Historic Center Freudenberg, and it was by user Gravedigger. Thank you for letting me say that name out loud, because that was and so Freudenberg, I'm not exactly sure what country Freudenberg is in, but now I really want to go there. So that's like number one is, does it make me want to go there? Yes, it does. And that's awesome. So the colors and the light obviously caught my eye first. One, gold and blue are complementary colors. So this is a little bit of color theory. So for your photos, if you have the opportunity to use those colors, it makes for a wonderful experience for the viewer, because gold, yellow, gold, orange, kind of that part of the color wheel, and blue are opposite each other on the color wheel. So when they sit side by side, it creates this natural contrast that all on their own, without you doing anything, that makes everything seem a little bit more exciting, and it's just kind of pleasing to the nervous system. It's just kind of a human thing. So there you go. When you have the opportunity to use those colors, it's tremendous. So that was just cool, and it made me think of that. Oh, I love that blue and gold. So the way the buildings look all lit up from within, I sat there and stared at it. I was like, how did they do that? Was it from within? And then, of course, you see the street lights and you realize it's the reflection, and isn't that an awesome effect? And it just sort of lights up in this little mountain. And of course, the photographer found the right time and the right location to show that perspective, which was tremendous. The town has a very definite vibe and historic style, and that was captured wonderfully. And then, choosing to shoot it at blue hour for the very reason I just said, because of the lighting, was also a great choice. So it has a unique perspective. The colors work. The subject matter is just right. The story, it's a storybook place. It's a wonderful moment captured at a particular time of day and of the year. It just made it all a wonderful image that was a real winner for me.
Karen, when I first saw this really caught my eye because, like you were saying, it looks like it's lit from within, and it's so unusual. I really never have seen a scene like this before.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
It's a really unique, what am I trying to say? Effect
Yes.
that just was there. So,
and because it's wintertime, that makes it even better.
yep.
So yeah.
Because you got the color contrast and the light contrast, and I mean it just works on every level. So
Yeah,
Karen,
apparently the aperture settings that were used for this image were also just unique to be able to capture the lighting inside or on the street, the way the light reflects on the buildings. It's just beautiful the way the photographer captured it.
yeah, it was masterful. It truly was. So, yeah.
So we have two questions. Terry is wondering, do you think it was HDR?
Well, if it was HDR, it was very masterfully done, because I I do HDR, and I don't see a lot of signs of it. I suppose it's possible that he could have combined, taken two shots, like taking a shot for the foreground, taking a shot for the background, and then combine them. But it's also possible that this time of day, these lights would be super bright if it were much darker than this. So if you want to capture a scene like this on one exposure, before it's completely dark, but after the sun goes down, blue hour, there's still plenty of ambient light in the atmosphere, and the chances are good that he was able to do this on one shot. That's my guess.
I would guess that too. Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure not HDR.
Yeah. Larry made a comment, then he said, there's no stray light, which is really nice. So that's a good point there as well.
That is a really good point.
Killiam's asking, when picking an image, do you prefer images without heavy editing?
Well, personally, I'm a heavy editor, so heavy editing doesn't bother me. However, it's sort of like women who wear makeup. I don't want to look at a woman or anyone, because I come from a performing background, right, and on camera and this and that. And so that's one of the things that I've done. And so I don't want to look at a beautiful person and say, wow, nice makeup. I want to look at them and say, wow, you're gorgeous. You're so well put. What have you done? Did you lose weight? Have you been eating right? You can't quite put your finger on it. That's how editing, heavy or not, should show off the subject matter. Editing can certainly take away from a photo, but nothing takes the place of framing so that you have a good story and a good composition. So I don't really have a prejudice against editing at all, unless it takes away from the gesture of the image.
No, that's good.
Very good. Well said.
Yes.
Yeah, and I had also, by the way, I had someone say kind of the same thought, different angle the other day on social, who said, it seems, her comment was actually, it seems like a lot of the people on ViewBug do a lot of editing, which I haven't particularly noticed, but could be true, I don't know. And here again, it shouldn't matter. I mean, editing is meant to show off your idea, and some people like to do it more, some people like to do it less. As long as the photo is really coming through, it shouldn't matter.
Right.
If I said that right. Did I say that right?
You said it right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Very good.
Yep. Ori, a question for you from Tom. Is the metadata available for these photos?
It is, yes. Each photo, when you go to the photo page, you'll be able to see the metadata on the right-hand side of the photo. So that's a great tool. Sometimes I get just immersed in the images and spend hours looking at the metadata and see how the photographer did it, the settings, the aperture, the focal aperture of the photo, and it really helps a lot on understanding what was the idea behind the photographer's shot.
That's great. Excellent.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
Hey, I have a question for you guys, technical. So I'm wearing a jacket with a zipper, and I'm hearing my headset move on it. Are you hearing any zipper noise in my audio?
I didn't.
Not here.
Okay, good. That's where I wanted to know.
Don't move, Karen. Just stay put.
I can't.
Yes,
I
you
move
can.
when I talk. It's
No.
crazy. Okay.
Okay. All right. We're ready for the next one.
Okay, the next one is this one. So this was our first runner-up. It was called, I know, right?
Wow.
It's called Insignificant, and the user is Vale_en. Now this one grabbed me right away, and God, on so many levels, I kept coming back to it because there was just so much in this that I kept coming back because I was like, okay, and then there's. So first of all, it was the story. All right, because this is like a story image to me, and the amazing elements that it captured to convey what a moment like this feels like. The feeling of standing on a mountaintop above the clouds. Now, I live in the mountains, so I have stood in places like this, and it is a really unique feeling, and it's one that not everyone gets to experience, but this photograph captures it perfectly. And so I got to really hand it to the photographer for doing that. It's a combination of the sense that if you step off the edge, you'll do so into what? Air? Clouds? Will you fall or will you float? Will you fly? It's like, oh my God, what's off the edge there? the fact that you ask yourself those questions and have the feeling of what would it be like to step off the edge, the photograph has done its job because it has given you an experience, it's engaged you, it's got you asking questions and interacting with it. That's huge. So I found myself wondering all these things. Um, the other thing it does, though, which I love, which is it doesn't necessarily answer all the questions. It leaves possibilities to linger. And I love that too, because photography can be very literal or it can be very poetic. And this is a bit of both. And it leaves you to wonder and still feel that sense of being on a mountaintop in winter and the people there, you're like, oh my God, it's really a big, big place because look how small they look. Technically, I think they did a beautiful job of showing scale. So the composition is great. Where they place the people is wonderful. The colors, the pop of color against these beautiful pastels. The time of day, the sense of insignificance of humans at what seems like the top of the world. The light is gorgeous. Like I say, the colors and tones work just right. They're really soft and delicate against the starkness of winter, of what winter is like in the mountains. So just that alone becomes an interesting juxtaposition of elements that also adds to its overall impact that you don't necessarily think about unless you're sitting there studying it and kind of going, why is this thing so impactful? So it's both subtle and dramatic and unexpected, all at the same time. So, but it took me a few visits to kind of get all that because it has so many layers to it, which of course I also love. Anyway, I think those are all hallmarks of a great photo, and I think this one accomplished that beautifully.
Yeah, when you pulled this up, I said, wow. And that's my, key to a great image when something makes me go, stop and say, wow. Yep. And also, the perspective too. We're kind of up high looking down and the little insignificant people, but how incredible those clouds, like you said, when they step off, are they going to step onto the clouds or are they going to fall down or whatever? So it really makes you want to stop and figure out, the story behind this. But I think it's just, I love the layers. Larry had mentioned, the people that really give it scale. A lot of times we don't like people in our images, but sometimes they really give it more impact. And in this case, I think this person did a fabulous job with composition and scale and just the tones.
I know.
It's beautiful.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think, as a landscape photographer, I avoid people as a rule. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I look over on Instagram, say, and, the whole meme thing gets to be like, I just want to slap my forehead and, because it'll be like, the little person looking out on the scene over and over and over again, or the guy in the tutu everywhere in the world, or whatever, they have this thing with people and not naming names, but it's like it's cool the first time, and then by about the 500th time, you want to shoot somebody. I don't know, anybody. So therefore, in a photograph like this, it had better be done well, and it had better be really justified and really add something to the photo. So I imagined it without the people, and it would have been beautiful, but in this case, the people made it.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, and the same as what you mentioned. I mean, from the very instant I saw this photo, I was like, wow, mm-hmm. Instant visceral reaction. But the more you talked about it, Karen, and you, Lori, the more I fell in love with this image. There's something about it where you can stare at this image forever.
Yep.
I mean, the texture of the rocks, the snow, the clouds, the sky, you feel like you can be there and touch it. It's very unique. I really love this photo as well.
Yeah, I do too.
Good choice, Karen.
And the fact that it was second doesn't mean it's second best. Mm-hmm. This is the part where contests bug me. They still do, because then you're in a position where you have to choose first or second. How the hell do you do that, really? It's art. This is fantastic. This would have been, I mean, on another day, this could have been first. So at this point, you guys are all pretty much genius in my book. So please just know that. So shall we, have we been suspenseful enough about who the winner was?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Are there any more questions before I do the big reveal?
Any more questions? Let's see. Gloria says, beautiful perspective. The red makes it pop. Tanya says, beautiful. So you got lots of nice comments there. Okay.
Okay.
I think we're ready. Okay.
I'm really, now my palms are actually sweating.
Awesome.
And I even know the answer. Okay. Bam. Okay, you guys are going to think this is a ringer because you know, Ori, you chose this on, it was on all over this contest, and I felt like, oh my God, now I'm going to choose this, and everybody's going to think, well, you were brainwashed because it was everywhere, and I'm like, no, actually not. I actually know what a good photo is. This one stopped me in my tracks, absolutely did. Interestingly, it's similar to the one we just talked about in some ways. But what this does is it does something really unique. It made me feel wow. I literally felt my heart just stop for a second. That, which of course is always my first indication that, it's the experience. But the thing of it is the tones, it's all white. It's all shades of white, but the tones, there is nothing blown out. There's a flow of these, from white to the gentle blues to the grays to all these gorgeous tones. Nothing is over or underexposed. It's just this beautiful array of soft colors within this wonderful tonal range. And that in and of itself is really hard to accomplish. And our first runner-up did the same thing. The tree is the perfect solo participant, and where it's placed is excellent to give it scope and perspective. And the cropping is fantastic. Well, I didn't actually say who this was. Yeah. I'm so sorry. This is the Yellowstone Lone Tree Panorama by Anita 403.
Congratulations, Anita.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great shot.
I am so sorry. I got so excited about this photo. I just launched into it, and I didn't give you your due. I'm sorry, Anita. But this really is an extraordinary photo. The panoramic, like I say, cropping is exactly right for this story and composition. She didn't leave in too much or take out too much or leave in too much. It was just right. What was unusual is the flow of the hills and the clouds and how they all work together. You just cannot imagine this scene any other way. And the thing about this scene is if you were a painter, painters used to go out and, landscape painters, the historic ones, they would paint the scene, but, they'd paint the clouds how they wanted them, and, they'd fix it up a little bit. They'd do the scene, but it would be the improved scene. And this scene is, there it is. Somehow they managed to be there at that moment in time, and bada boom, bada bing, you get this. Mm-hmm. So the image is clean, it's devoid of distractions. Every single element in it works and is meant. There's nothing extraneous in this photo, nothing that does not belong there or that requires forgiving. Think about that for a minute. There's another thing here, which is this photo has one strike against it, which is it's iconic. It is an iconic type of winter shot. You'll see shots like this out there in the world. So an argument against it could be, well, but there's so many shots like this out there. How is this unique? So my criteria for that is that, I've seen a lot of those too, and they're usually done by master photographers. So what this means is that when you look at a photo like this, it will immediately draw a comparison to those. Fair or unfair, that's what's going to happen. And so this photo had better offer something unique, which this image does. It succeeds beautifully on all counts, which is why it just wins my utter admiration. I would be proud to have that on my wall, and I decided to award it the Grand Jury Award for everything that it has. Beautiful job.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Karen, when I looked at this to me is like music. I mean, it just the flow, the ups and downs, and the notes and the clouds. It's kind of like a scale. There's the notes, and then that tree is that exclamation point. That's just perfectly placed. I just absolutely love this.
I do too. And if people are ever wondering, successful compositions of certain types of scenes, this is what's interesting here. So here's this photo. Let me make sure I'm on my right computer here. We have this photo and we have this photo. So the people are where they are, and then you have this flow, left to right and right to left. Similar thing here. You have this beautiful array of tones and colors. Ditto here. You have the heavenly elemental elements. Ditto here. It's just this one's more minimal. Where this one, just by the luck of the draw edges out is it's so minimal and yet is so impactful that it's just so unlikely, that it's a kind of a miracle that they caught this.
Yeah. And I think the real key too, these top photos that you've selected, again, there's no blown out highlights. And being able to master that with snow and white skies and clouds
it is not easy.
It is not easy. And this is a beautiful example of something that's done really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Karen, I have a quick question. Let me jump in here. We're seeing a lot of amazing winter and landscape images, and at the beginning you mentioned that it's one of the most difficult images to capture because of all the white snow. A lot of us might have a couple of vacation days planned here or there to go to the mountains and be around snow. I see that most of the people's, not the people's choice, the amateur winner, the runners-up, apparently they're taking the golden hour or blue hour of the day. Is there a specific time that you prefer to go out and shoot winter landscape images?
Yeah, I mean, sunrise, sunset, blue hour, when there's overcast. A lot of people don't go out when it's overcast because they're like, oh, there's no light. But look at the light in this one. This is overcast. It looks like there might be a teeny bit of blue sky up there, but it's very diffused. So you're looking, especially with winter shots, you're looking for diffusion big time. You need to not have so much light that it blows out all the shadows, because what happens is with all white is all definition goes away. And then if you try to expose for the sun, or for the snow, then all your tree or your other things that are in there will all turn black. So the contrast is just crazy. So you're looking for ways and times and circumstances to minimize the contrast so that the details can come out.
Interesting. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Right. Very good. So Gloria says she can imagine the clouds just flowing. There's so much movement there.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a good movement.
It's really a brilliant photo. It really is.
I also want to say too, so, you have to take the right picture, get it right out of the camera, but also post-processing. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. So, we always encourage that people photograph raw images, and so you'll have much more information to play with. But here's an example where with post-processing, you might be able to bring up a little bit of structure and detail, like for instance with Intensify with MacFun, and kind of bring up the nice details that might otherwise be lost, and it might be a little bit too soft. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing of it is, what you said is true. The raw images are the only way, especially when you're shooting something like stark white. You really need to shoot raw because you need to pull up the million tones of shades of white. I think they've determined, one of the master printers I work with have determined that there are 32 shades of black.
Wow. I didn't hear that.
Wow.
So yeah. Exactly. Which is like, I don't know how many, I forget, or even if they told me how many shades of white. I was so I chewed on the black idea for so long that I forgot to ask about the white. But so, you figure if there's 32 shades of black, there must be at least that many whites. And you need to shoot raw to capture all those levels. But the thing of it is that cameras are meant, unless you go in the camera and tell, there's settings within the camera, but then you're letting the camera make the decisions about what's what with your photo. So if you just shoot flat raw, well, it's flat. It's supposed to be. So it's always going to look flatter than the scene. So some people feel it's really important to, get it right in the camera. And I'm like, knock yourself out, good luck with that. And then they say, well, everything is post-processed. Well, that's the industry now. That's what is meant to be. That's how it's all designed, from raw photos all the way through the cameras and all the way through everything. That's the lay of the land now. So get used to it. So if you want to do something minimal, like you say, these MacFun tools, you can dial them down as much as you want, and the thing I love about them is how you can just get just the I only want to, the cloud is a little too dark. I just want to lighten it a little bit, and you can do it. It's so easy to do. And bringing out the details and bringing out just so gently. So if you're not a super duper, I don't want to process my photos a whole lot, you don't have to. And you can if you want to, but you don't have to. You could do this photo in Tonality Pro too, because you have those color channels.
Right. Yeah. And also keep in mind that you don't have to globally enhance everything. I think a real
Right.
tip is to selectively choose those areas that you want to bring forward and enhance.
Right, exactly. I just realized you sound so level and calm, and I'm like this, and I'm like, yeah, 'cause I get so passionate about this stuff. It's crazy. Okay, so I'll try to calm
great.
down.
All right. Well, do you guys have any questions you want to ask Karen here while we've got her?
She's in the mood. Ask me.
By the way, I just got a little note in the question box from a friend of mine who actually lives in San Diego. His name's Larry, and he said, "Look out your window. There's a sunset." I'm like,
Oh my
really?
God.
Okay.
It's not awful to be in a webinar when there's an incredible sunset.
We're talking winter.
I know.
Well, I have to say, Viewbug, gosh, such amazing, inspiring images. Ori, you've got such a wonderful, company that you've got out there and such great participants. If I want some inspiration, I'll go to Viewbug and I'll, look at past winners and people that just are doing amazing stuff like this. This is absolutely incredible and well deserving of these prizes in first and second places. So I just, Karen, you did a great job picking the winners, and thank you for explaining what goes on in your head when you're, trying to pick out the ones that really mean something to you. So really great.
Yeah, I have a question for Ori.
Sure.
Ori, when I go on Viewbug and I look at the comments people leave, I always think to myself, God, you guys are so nice, and which I love. That's not a criticism. Nice and supportive, and if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all, is kind of my motto. And it's like that on Viewbug for the most part. And do you police that? Like, how does that happen?
It's very interesting, and it goes along to what Lori said. I feel that the success of this contest and the success of Viewbug it's all about the photographers and its members.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what makes a contest amazing is the submissions, and what makes the submissions is the photographers. We have such a friendly community. We do have members of the community in Viewbug that are monitors, that are moderators and curators, and they have a super easy job because we have very few incidents where there's negative comments, as you mentioned, and
Mm-hmm.
we're just so thankful and grateful that everybody is so positive and learning from each other and really looking at images in a positive way to try to get inspired and to try to test new things with their own photography, that it's just so fun to read the comments and to see that everybody or almost everybody is in a good mood and is trying to be positive and say good things and give positive feedback.
Yeah, and some people say, oh, you got to give negative feedback. You got to give people a taste of the real world and all this kind of thing. And I disagree. I think we have enough negativity in the world and tearing down that I think giving people a place to expand into and rise up to, and you don't have to be torn down to get better. That's an old model of thinking that is long outlived its usefulness, in my opinion.
I agree with you. It's all about being positive and being happy and really helping each other out. I mean, so many of Viewbug members share the tricks and tips behind their photos, and just by opening up their art and their tricks to everybody else, it's like a pay it forward kind of mentality, and everybody's so helpful and excited to share their ideas.
Yeah, and it only benefits the entire photography industry and the quality of work all the way around. So I really applaud you, because that gets laid at the at the very groundwork level, and so good on you, Ori and team.
Thank you, and good on you and Lori on putting this together and giving such an amazing feedback. You mentioned it's hard to say what is a winning image just by talking about the images and by enjoying this beautiful aesthetic scenes. Everybody's winning. The photographer won, the viewers are winning. This is so exciting, it's so fun.
Yeah, I agree.
It really is.
Yeah.
And thank you all who've been listening and watching and taking part. I can feel you out there. You're amazing.
Yes. And, get in there and enter some contests too. We might be talking about your image. So encourage you to do that. But thank you so much, Karen. Wonderful job. And Ori, you guys are just fantastic. So, and thank you everyone for joining us tonight. And hopefully you can join us again for the next time. All right, everyone. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.